Okay, we did it. How's it going? Um, how's your weekend? Good, I hope. Take a look at this thing here. Do what that says. All right. What do you guys think of this new layout? I did some work over the weekend. Um, listen. Oh, let me get situated. This is the background. I'm actually in the bathroom taking a shit. I'm like, let me get. All right. Open dirty. It's fine. It's fine. Who's gonna do what about it? No one and nothing. Whew. I was in Philadelphia for the weekend, and obviously no one calls it Philadelphia unless you're not from there like me. I was in Philly. What's another nickname for it? P Town. Place where they fucking throw batteries at people during football games. Um, it's a great city, man. I did the punchline there just on Friday. And if you came out, you probably didn't, but if you did, thanks. Was one of those trying weekends. I took the gig on 6 days' notice, so I was like, turnout's not going to probably be great, and it wasn't. But like I told the crowds too when I went on, I was like, look, man, I'm not even going to make a joke about low turnout because it's been so fucking long since I've been on the road and been in front of a crowd and done a set longer than 15, 20. In New York, sets are always 15, 20 minutes. So I fucking loved it, man. Both shows, crowds had a great time. I had a great time. Told a bunch of stories about like, years back and performing for like small crowds or no crowds and doing shitty shows and stuff. It felt great to just like let it all out, and to work, just to like fucking get a game face on and just go be prepared, get out there and just like put on a fucking show. And I got to be honest, man, I've had a lot of feelings over this last like 14, 15, almost 18 months now of what is it? So when did we shut down? March, so April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, about 18 total months. I've been back on stage since April, so about 18 months since this whole thing started. And I've missed it, I haven't, and each thing kind of like would be depressing in its own way, like I'm not missing it. Is that bad? Does that mean I don't want to do this anymore? Or I miss it too much? Will I ever do it again? I'm so depressed. What's my life even mean? How crazy is it that like, not having this makes me feel dead and, and everything in between. But, now it's back and I felt almost all those same feelings again all in that night. On the way there, excited, pumped. First fucking thing that happened, and my girl, I brought my girlfriend with me, and I mean, the moment we arrived at Philadelphia Penn Station, we walked up the escalator, and the very first, like, there's a group of people, just kind of waiting to get on the next train, and there's a security guard who, right as I got out there, pointed at me and goes, "Nick Youssef, funny man," and I was like, "Yeah, dude, this is and I took that as like, this is a fucking sign that we're gonna have a great week. Very first person I see when I get here knows who I am. Let's bring it on. And then I get to the club later and it's just fucking miserable. There's just no one there. It was so funny. But look, what can you do? Like, I'm already there. The show's gonna happen. The people who showed up, and we gotta fucking do the show. Um, and and I just put on the fucking game face and went out there and had a good time. And it wasn't until the next day, I think, that feeling of just like you got to get yourself up to here and go, go, go. By the time we like got off the train back in New York, it all just went like, oh, and I just felt this sense of like exhaustion. And then you start thinking about like, all the negatives. You're just like, fuck, man, that's first time back out on the road. And it just like, turnout wasn't great, but I had a good time. And you just start thinking like, what is all this for? Like that you start going down that line of thought. And this is just part of what it's all for. There's the ups and the downs and but yeah, and then, just what a typical way to get back into the game where it's like good old stand up never can be the same fucking for more than a week. It loves you, it hates you, it's indifferent to you, and that's what we fucking signed up for. Anyhow, I needed a day to just sort of like just literally I just was like sitting in the apartment like just letting my mind go to wherever it needed to. And I just let myself have all the thoughts. Think positive, think negative, feel lost, confused, detached, fucking I'm going to jump off a bridge, I'm going to try harder than I've ever tried. All of it. Knowing that they're just passing through. That's all they're doing. And I slept fucking hard the last 2 nights cuz it just was exhausting, you know. But now here we are. So one of the thoughts, and I'm gonna spend the next 10 minutes talking about this, and then we're out. We can all go have our Mondays and have a good time. Drinking out of my fucking variety coffee cup. We got a problem here with this light is so bright. It just washes everything out. So because of this show and now gigs are starting to kind of come back, I'm having to use social media more than I have probably in the last year again, and fuck do I not at all miss that. This is nothing like it's a mixed bag of feelings, stand up and work in the road. With social media and Instagram, Twitter and stuff, I mean it's not even a debate. I fucking don't like it. I use it because I have to, and I do it the minimum I think of what I have to do, especially on Twitter. And I've been using it more, especially for this pod, and I gotta post more. And this is nothing new. People have felt this way about it forever. And even in 2014 or 15, I all but stopped complete. I took one full calendar year off, and it was amazing. And then I just sort of had to start using it, bit by bit. But now I think the way people have been using Twitter and are discussing what the atmosphere is even like is, there's a lot of different types of people going, it's bullshit, it's not a real place, and what happens there doesn't reflect real life. And I've always had a problem with whether or not I totally agree with that. I agree in part because I think a lot of what is said, if you go way back to like early Twitter and like, that was like part of the reason the Arab Spring was able to get off the ground, and a lot of like voices and viewpoints that aren't heard in mainstream media, found an outlet there. And then for a number of years, Twitter was great for comics. It was, and up and coming writers who live in the middle of nowhere and everything in between, man. It was it was like a haven for just random thoughts. A lot of stuff you couldn't do on stage, just throw on Twitter, see what happens. And you'd build these followings, and no one took anything personally or seriously. And then it just made this sharp fucking turn. And now it's only serious. Everything is just a 12 out of 10 in terms of like, I'm offended. I'm outraged. How dare you? This needs to be said, and it needs to be a thread of 5,000 words. And I, I think it all comes from a real place. So when people say, "Oh, it's not a real place," I think a lot of what's talked about, a lot of like major cultural, social issues are obviously very real, but it's just dialed way too far up. Because go click on any trending topic and you'll read and read and read all these posts, and it looks like everyone on planet Earth is only talking about what Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker's engagement. I don't know a single person who gives a fuck. And I could go walk down the streets of Brooklyn and Manhattan and ask 100 people. I bet 5 would even know what that's all about. And say 20 knew, they wouldn't know any details. I think and it's the title of the episode, I think Twitter and all its contents are, for the most part, I think, minus the bots and the troll farms that are, just fucking ramping people's emotions up. I think a lot of people on there in their regular life, when they don't have the urge to just get on Twitter and start going, are probably reasonable people that just go about their day doing everything at, I don't know, anywhere from a 3 to a 7 out of 10 in terms of like emotional, energy. And then something strikes them that is offensive or is something that should change, or more of a discussion should be had about it. And then they just get like we all have, like I get all the time. And then, without spending any amount of time, just sort of like, me just fucking for a while and process it, they just fuck. And I've likened it. This is my analogy. This is my timeline. The early days of Twitter, all of Twitter is a bar, okay, and 2000, whenever it fucking started, whenever it started getting published, let's just say 2008 to about 2013 or 13, it was a bar between like 8 and 11:45 p.m. How fun is a fucking bar during that, right? If you don't have time to go out, or you want to be a responsible drinker, have a couple, still have some elbow room too, show up between 8 and 10, have a couple drinks, you're meeting friends. Hey, good to see you. Oh man, gotta go, need to get up early, gotta be responsible. It's good to see everyone, have a couple laughs, tell some, stories I wouldn't tell in the workplace or around the family. That's what these bars are all about. We love it. See ya. And you're gone. I've spent a lot of time in bars late. I usually get there after midnight to 2 or 3. That's when there's a few types of people. The ones that show up then, who aren't looking to just have one or two, catch up a little bit, go home early. They fucking got there late. So they're either were at a couple bars before, having a few, or they're looking for trouble, looking to get laid, or something. They are emotional in one way or another, and they're usually the type of people you are not going to be too reasonable with. This is not everyone, Again, some people get out of work late and they want to have one or two at 1 a.m., right? But even those people are like, let's not hang out here too long. That energy's fucking weird intense. Have you ever been to a bar where at 1 a.m. the energy's weird? It's either too quiet or too empty or really busy, and there's just this like aggression in the air, and it's mostly fucking angry dudes left over. A bar at 1 a.m. is the guys that are still there haven't gotten laid yet. They're waiting to. They're waiting to get out those emotions in, one way or another. Usually not in a constructive way. If that's the way you're dealing with things, it's like, you're not doing it right. But whatever. You're 22 or 23. You don't know better. Twitter has become that. It's a bar at 1 a.m. full of 22 and 23-year-olds who just don't know yet. They don't know better. They don't have enough to do. The people at 8, 9, 10 p.m., they have actual shit going on later. So they're not engaging. They're not fucking digging in and staying till the fucking bar kicks everyone out. It's a waste of time. That's where it is. That's how it feels when I log in. I feel like, oh, I got to the bar late, and those fucking guys are wobbling around, and they look like they're just fucking, they have this just like stare, that like they're waiting for you to say anything. What'd you say? You say all lives matter? You say black lives matter? You say any lives matter? What'd you say about trans rights? What'd you say about America? What'd you say about insert topic? What'd you say about insert topic? And look, the topic doesn't matter, right? Because it's the reaction to it. The reaction you're going to have in 2010, 11, 12, when a lot of different people were on Twitter and everyone was just sort of like, this is anything goes. It's kind of fun. We're all having a good time. They're all fucking gone. 8 p.m. They're gone. We're not going to that bar anymore. There have been too many fights. The fucking live music sucks now. Everyone is yelling and screaming all the time. The bartenders aren't even doing anything about it. They don't even have bouncers at this bar. And when they do feel like bouncing, they're not even doing it right. Two people get into it. One clearly started it and he's spewing racist shit. They throw out the other guy. You're like, well, why? Well, it's just we looked and saw both yelling, so that guy felt like he had to go. Well, one of them's gone, so everything should be fine now. That's the fucking vibe over at Twitter. It's a bar at 1 a.m. that is just out of control. And if you're still there, it's kind of your fault. I barely check in. I get on there, I post the link or two that I have to, and I try and get the fuck out as soon as I can. Because even sometimes you walk by a ridiculous conversation on the street or in a bar, and you're just like, what the fuck did that guy say? Well, let's not stick around too long, because that clearly was dumb. It was entertaining in passing. You stick around and listen to some fucking idiot's viewpoints on anything at 1 a.m. It's not going to make that much sense. I can't even count the nights I've been at a bar and then like I'll look around and go, oh, it's that time. Just because you feel it clear out or you feel the tension that's in the air. Those are the big ones. You're just like feeling the tension and hearing people. Someone said this to me a long time ago. I don't know if it was like a quote from some famous person's quote or whatever, but someone told me this when I was like 20 or 21. They're like, oh yeah, man, when you start going to like bars and parties, they're like, the moment you know it's time to leave at a bar or a party is when people start arguing about politics and religion. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with like a argument about, well, they're like, well, yeah, normally fine, right? But if you're at a bar or a party, the conversation invariably turns, you've run out of other stuff to talk about and you're at, because they can be divisive topics. Sure, no one's going to bring that up at 9 p.m. because it's like, oh, we don't want everyone to get like, combative. But once you've had a few, your emotions come out, and those are the two topics that come up, and then everyone starts getting heated. That's when he said, as you look around, when those conversations start and people start kind of arguing, there's no turning back. The party's over. Get out while you can. And I've taken that advice so many times, and I've never regretted it. And the few times I haven't, I'll sit there and I'll want to chime in, and I'll go, "Oh, no one's listening to each other. They're just fucking yelling their own viewpoints until last call, and then they go home and they wake up. The only thing that's changed is how hoarse they are. Their viewpoint, nothing. They probably don't remember half of it. They just felt good getting it out, and then they wake up going, "Oh, why did I do that last night?" That's it, man. Twitter is a fucking bar at 1 a.m. And if we're at all responsible for our like physical and emotional well-beings, we will close our tab and go home. Anyway, um should end it there. I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself. Anyway, uh comment, email, all of it. You know the score. Let me know what you think. Let me know, and reasonably. If you just listen to anything I said, let's be reasonable with each other. I'm way more likely to get him the back and forth on my Discord channels, which you can get on if you're on the Patreon. That's like everyone's fucking laid back on there. We're nice, we're cordial, and it's a way better place to have conversations with the people that are like fuck that have signed up for your shit, and you're like, yeah, you're cool, I'm cool, let's talk. There's different channels on different topics, so we keep it sort of separate. It's more enjoyable for me that way. And couple of road things. Houston, December 3rd. I'll be at the Riot, and tickets, I don't know if they've gone live yet, but go to my website where there'll be a link, and I'm only there one night. So if you live in Houston, early December, December 3rd, sign up for the mailing list so you know, and come out to those shows. I've heard a lot of great things about that club. Some friends have played it. It's called Riot HTX. And I'm excited to do it. I've only ever done the improv out there, and it'll be fun to do something new. It'll be fun to have a bunch of fucking awesome barbecue. Oh, it's also been like 18, 20 months since I've done that. I can't wait. And then this just announced San Francisco Punchline, December 15th through 18th. Tickets are live now. So go to my website, get tickets to that, and I'll be posting more as they finalize. So thanks for being here, and I'll most likely see you tomorrow.
It's the end of the show. Like, subscribe, and comment.